When you wake up as Sam Bridges and turn to see your BB not in its usual place, panic sets for Sam and the player. It's also the first time that Sam calls the BB Lou.
Lou?
Then Deadman appears and tells you this.
Lou? Looking for this? Don't worry, I didn't come all this way for the sightseeing. Your beloved BB has a serious issue.
He explains to you how BB has grown to have an attachment with Sam, which is an issue as these are bridge babies. They act as the bridge between the living and the dead. So the BB's relationship with you makes it faulty, as it means it has an affinity to the living side with you as an adoptive parent. It's growing, becoming more and more of a human child. This makes it faulty since its lack of affinity for the living or the dead has made it a useful tool for us to sense and see these terrifying beings that we would otherwise not be able to see fully. The only solution is to leave it with Deadman temporarily, away from us as the player. It's quite a common gaming trope to strip away the player from certain tools, and Death Stranding isn't the only game to do this obviously, and it's not the first time Kojima has done it either. But Death Stranding does this more effectively than most other games, at least to my knowledge. The game doesn't take away your guns or weapons away, it takes away the one thing that keeps you company. Yes, it might look like a baby, and it is a baby, but we're explicitly told it's technically a manufactured tool.
Baby's a tool, not a human being.
Yet it clearly triggers something primal in Sam because it's only in the absence of the BB that he refers to it as Lou.
Lou? Looking for this?
This is chapter 6 and it comes right after the quest with Mama and Lochner reconnecting with one another, and hours of cutscenes and exposition on how we have to reconnect the country. At this point we've also spent half the game with the BB, and it has helped us navigate the world. Now it is a bit of an obvious thing to say, but human beings are social creatures and we usually don't like being completely alone, even if it's just the baby by our side. This chapter seemingly takes that one thing away from us as players, and it's a long, grueling chapter with intense separation anxiety and difficult terrain traversal that's made all the worse with the presence of BTs. This clip was from my first time travelling without BB, trying to speed through the BT area. It's the first time in the game I actually felt a bit tense. I realised that this would take far too long and resorted to fully embracing the so-called strand mechanic that emphasises connectivity with other unseen players by means of the structures that they had left behind. These are essentially cheats that make this entire area easy to travel around, and you learn how to appreciate everything built by other players even more, giving you a sense that you're not alone, and thank God for the internet, otherwise this would have been infinitely worse. I know this game is a bit polarizing, and even this mission really misses the mark by just being too drawn out, tedious and tiresome, going back and forth through the same routes with the main plot not really going anywhere until you get the BB back. I think it misses the mark ever so slightly in its gameplay mechanics and just not keeping the player completely invested, but it's the deviation and then the return to normality that really makes this mission not necessarily good but effective in what it tries to do. The eventual reunification with BB serves as an emotional catharsis for us and for Sam, relieving the built-up tension and anxiety. This reunion is more than a simple restoration of gameplay mechanics. It's an emotional payoff that reinforces the bond between you and BB. And it's placed at a crucial time where we have to track down Cliff, Unger and his puppets. I remember thinking it's finally time for the game to continue normally. The game's central motif of rebuilding connections in a fractured world is mirrored in the microcosm of the player's relationship with BB. The fear and anxiety of separation underscore the importance of bonds and the human need for connection. Through this, Death Stranding solidified itself as having a great thematic narrative, which I know many others agree with, but it's this mission that did it for me, and it was a huge turning point in the story. It's highly effective in making a point, and it's not a perfect chapter like I said, but it's what the game needed more of instead of the heavy exposition we got from everything else. Here's to the sequel though, for intelligible emotional drama and less beach jokes.
Like Mario and Princess Beach.